I think one of the biggest parts of the Pokemon trading card game is having fun, and today we're going to be looking at a deck that I have a ton of fun with. Hey, Nick from Card TCG, and today we're going to be looking at one of my favorite decks at the moment, and honestly, I'm being straight up. If you see me at a tournament, there's a good chance I'm playing this exact 60. We're going to take a look at it. We'll take a look at the deck profile and then run through a little bit of the strategy and some combos you can pull off with this deck and why I like it so much. So, but before we do, if you haven't already, do me a favor, like, subscribe, comment, all that kind of stuff. Tells YouTube this is a good channel. Other people should watch it. And I have a second, oh boy, starting out this year real strong. I have a second channel, 9-card shorts, where it's exactly what it sounds like. I make shorts. I don't like, not the clothing, right? I obviously don't make the clothing material. I don't make clothing. It's Pokemon content, and it's short form. And there's a link in the video description. Go check it out, please. Give it a subscribe, all that kind of stuff. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at this deck. There's going to be a lot of stuff happening in this deck, and you're going to be really confused, potentially. Maybe you're just like, oh, I already know where this is going. If you do, great. If you don't, make sure you stick around for the strategy portion. But we got Comfey, and Comfey, we got 4. I'm going to put it right there. We got 4 Comfeys. Flower selecting is one of our ways of getting cards into the Lost Zone. Next up, we have Cramorant. Once we get those cards into the Lost Zone, we can attack with Cramorant if we have 4 more cards in the Lost Zone for free. Really, really cool. We have 2 copies of Amazing Rare Rayquaza. It's such a bomb. It's like a nuke, this card. It just does so much damage. You do have to discard a bunch of energies, but that's kind of okay. We'll talk about why in a little bit. We got some Sableye so that we can spread a little bit of the damage out. We can go ahead and kind of pick off things and finish those KOs later in the game. We got a Radiant Greninja. We're not using the Greninja to attack with. We are really just using it for the concealed cards, discarded energy, and then we get to draw 2 cards, which is really cool. We want to skew the Mew matchup in our favor, so we do include a copy of Drapion V. We're going to protect our bench with Manaphy, and then we have a 1/1 copy of Urshifu V and VMAX. This is Rapid Strike Urshifu. One of the reasons we have these cards in particular is because, 100 Furious Blows, 150 damage is pretty nice, and also being able to Gale Thrust for 150. Having a really high HP Pokemon, 330 health is a lot. Rapid Flow, knocking out 2 of your opponent's bench Pokemon, or doing 120 damage to any 2 Pokemon, it can be really, really valuable. Just as a surprise, your opponent doesn't kind of see it coming, and we just get some easy damage. Maybe we pick off something that ran to the bench. Maybe we take out something like their Beaverell. Maybe we take out whatever it is we're trying to do. We can put a good amount of chip damage into some Pokemon. So that's all of our Pokemon. I used to run a 2-2 line with Earth and Seal Stone, but I think Earth and Seal Stone's a little too easy to play around, although you can use it for free with Drapion, especially against Mew. Attaching it to the Urshifu is really not that hard to pull off. Galarian Zapdos is another option if your opponent has a couple of Pokemon V in play. It reduces the attack cost of Star Gravity, which is the attack for the Earth and Seal Stone. So really cool. It's an option. But as far as trainer cards that we got in here, Lost Vacuum is one of them. Not only does Lost Vacuum get rid of important stadiums and tool cards our opponent might have, but we can use it to get rid of our own tool and stadium cards to put even more cards into the Lost Zone. You have to Lost Zone a card from your hand in order to even play this. So if you are in a situation where you need that extra card or 2 in the Lost Zone so you can make something happen, Lost Vacuum is a really good way of doing it. We have Ordinary Rod and Energy Recycler. The reason we have these, Ordinary Rod gets 2 basic energies and 2 Pokemon back from the discard into the deck. Energy Recycler gets 5 basic energies. We already said Rayquaza is going to discard a bunch of energies. Urshifu discards a bunch of energies with VMAX Rapid Flow. So we want to be able to use these attacks more than once. As we discard with Radiant Greninjas, things get knocked out. We attach, discard, retreat. We're going to have some energies in the discard. We can Energy Recycle our Ordinary Rod, put them back in to make later plays happen. We have 2 copies of Quick Ball, so we can go ahead and find something like our Drapion, find our Greninja and our Urshifu if we need later. And then we do have a bunch of switch outs. We got 3 copies of Escape Rope, 3 copies of Switch, and then 4 copies of Scoop Up Net. So a lot of options in order, moving Pokemon around and getting things in and out of the active. We talked about Amazing Rare Rayquaza. We talked about Urshifu. They have high energy costs, especially Rayquaza. If we want to do a bunch of damage, we have to get 3, 4, 5 energies onto this thing. How do we do that? Well, the answer is, of course, Mirage Gate. We got 4 Mirage Gates. It's going to allow us to power up that Rayquaza or Urshifu, whatever, very, very quickly. It also allows us to power up that Drapion, which now it's not just useful in the Mew matchup. We can use this in the Mewtwo v Union matchup, and I have done this, especially playing online. I have used Drapion to take KOs on something like a Mewtwo v Union, thanks to Mirage Gate. So it is a very, very nice card. And then we do have 4 Battle VIP passes, so we can go ahead, kind of get a little bit of explosiveness with our bench very early, get some Comfeys, a Cramorant, we get our Greninja into play very early, very easily, and then the rest of the game, it's a pretty easy choice of what we need to discard with something like Quick Ball or a Lost Zone option later. Battle VIP pass, first thing that's going to go. Our last trainer card, or at least our last item, is an Air Balloon. Again, it's just a way of getting free pivot every turn, and that means something gets knocked out, we can just send up a Comfey that has an Air Balloon, Flower Select, and retreat for free every single turn. Really, really valuable. As far as supporters go, Boss's Orders, pretty self-explanatory. Maybe we want to get rid of that Dunsparce, or not Dunsparce, but maybe we want to get rid of that Manaphy so we can set up a Rapid Flow later. Maybe we want to take out whatever random Pokemon kind of we see fit. We have 2 copies of Raihan. It's another way of accelerating energies to a Rayquaza, to an Urshifu, and it lets us set up or get any card we want from our deck. Really powerful card and really great for Lost Zone, something that where Pokemon are probably going to get knocked out very frequently, almost every turn. So Raihan's almost always active. You can easily get energies into the discard between things like retreating with Comfey, Radiant Greninja. It's just very easy to do. If you already pulled off a Rayquaza attack, you got energies in the discard. So really cool option there. And then we have 4 Colress's Experiment. Colress is our main way of putting cards into the Lost Zone outside of something like Comfey. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck. 2 go into the Lost Zone, 3 go into your hand. Most games, we only need 7 cards in the Lost Zone, so we can activate Mirage Gate. There are going to be times where we need 10 to get Sableye in play. So a couple of Colresses, a couple of Comfeys, you're going to get to 6, 7 pretty easily, and then you tack on that Lost Vacuum. It's just that extra bump you need. It's a really nice combo. 2 copies of Training Court, so we can go ahead and just recover an energy. We just need to get 1 so we can Radiant Greninja, put it back, Raihan, accelerate that energy, and then draw a couple cards, search our deck in the process. It really does come in handy, especially for something like Rayquaza that has a complicated attack cost. We can get that 1 energy out of the discards so that we, maybe they're not in the deck, so we can still attack with Rayquaza. We get an energy, attach it to the Urshifu, Gale Thrust, something like that. And then as far as our actual energy counts go, we got 2 Psychic Energies, so we can attack with the Sableye. You could technically attack with Comfey if you wanted as well. And then we have 3 Lightning Energies, 3 Grass Energies, and 4 Fighting Energies. And the reason we have this kind of split of energies is Sableye, we use the least, so we have the fewest, and then the Grass, Lightning, and Fighting are used for Rayquaza, and then Urshifu also has a fighting requirement, so that's why we have a little bit extra fighting energy so that we can make sure we're using Rapid Flow and the amazing burst, I think it is, on the Rayquaza when we need. That's the whole deck list. Let's go ahead and take a look at some, potential combos and plays we can make. I think one of the first things we used to talk about is proper order or sequencing for how we want to play certain cards. In a given situation like this, where we have a Colress's Experiment, an Energy to activate concealed cards, and Comfey's in play, which one should we do first? Well, a lot of top players say that you should Greninja first, which means we should discard an Energy so that we can draw 2 cards. It doesn't really matter. I think these are probably going to be Energy cards. Cool, they're Energies. It doesn't matter, for the purposes of this little demo. The reason we Greninja first is because it's the lowest risk. Getting this Energy into the discard so we can draw 2 is the lowest risk. It's the least number of decisions we have to make, and it increases our hand size, which means when we go ahead and play Colress, now we can make a better informed decision. We're going to see 5 cards again. These are all going to be Energies because I didn't shuffle. We can make a better informed decision. Say, okay, I need these cards because I have more information about what my hand is and what kind of play I can make and what I should do. So then it's easier to lost zone others. Now I only have the Comfey left. So now when I see these next 2 cards off of the flower selecting, this is the hardest decision I have to make with this kind of deck. So because I have the most cards in hand, I drew 2, I got some cards off of the Colress. Now when I make this flower selecting, choosing between these 2 cards is that much easier. So I can go ahead and lost zone something else, choose what I need. Now, when it comes to moving these cards around, I have a switch and a scoop up, and I have an energy to retreat. What I would do is I would scoop up net to get this, so then I can send up this Comfey. I can play this down if I want, flower select, get the next 2 cards. If I can pick them up, okay, goes into the lost zone. Now I can go ahead and I have the option to attach, discard, manual retreat, or play switch. Depending on what my goal is, and this is true for the entire turn, I would probably switch before I go ahead and play this energy, because by committing the energy last, I can attach it to a Greninja to start setting up something for next turn. I can hold it in my hand so that if they don't knock out the Comfey, I have a free retreat for something else later. I don't want to commit cards if I don't have to. Something also to keep in mind is that cycling Comfeys is very important. So the order in which I play things is really matters a ton. I have this Comfey. I just use flower selecting. Well, if I switch into here and I use this flower selecting, when I scoop up net, it doesn't do me anything anymore because I already used this Comfey's flower selecting. So when I scoop up net and bring this into the active, I can't reuse the ability. So that means I have to play this and now commit an energy, retreat, send up this Comfey, and now I can use this flower selecting because once it comes to the hand, it comes out of play. When I re-bench it, now it's active again. Going to the bench or switching back and forth doesn't allow me to just reuse these Comfeys. It has to physically come out of play into the hand, which is why I want to use the scoop up net first. So I flower select, then I scoop up net because I have to promote something after I scoop up net so I can send up this one, flower select. After I flower select, I can make a decision if I want to re-bench. And then after I re-bench, this flower selecting is active, so I can go ahead and switch into it and now use this one. And I just got 3 flower selectings off of 2 cards, and I didn't commit an energy to manual retreat. Then, if I did say have a Cramorant that I wanted to attack with, I could go ahead, bench it, attach the energy, retreat, and now send up this Cramorant to go ahead and attack if I have 4 or more cards in the lost zone. So that's one very, very important strategy and way to kind of cycle through these Comfeys and use this deck. So a big strategy for this deck is attacking with the amazing rare Rayquaza. Amazing burst for a grass lightning fighting. You have to discard all energy, or discard all basic energy from this Pokemon, and this attack does 80 damage for each type of basic energy you discarded in this way. So depending on what we're trying to knock out, you might need 3 or 4 basic energy types, 4 to like really ensure you're knocking out Pokemon V-Stars, things like that. So we get our 4 energies thanks to something like Mirage Gate here. Mirage Gate lets us search a deck for 2 basic energies of different types and attach them to our Pokemon in any way we want. You do need 7 or more cards in the Lost Zone in order to even play this Mirage Gate, but if you have a good enough setup, say you have 2 Mirage Gates, we can go ahead and make this happen. This is a pretty common setup for a Lost Zone deck to have like a Colress in hand, some cards in the Lost Zone, an Escape Rope Energy, and some Mirage Gates. So assuming we have enough cards in the Lost Zone to activate Mirage Gate, before I play Colress, I would probably use these Mirage Gates. It really depends on what your goal, of course, is for the turn, and this is going to change very much based on that. But if our goal is to attack with Rayquaza and knock something out, I would play Mirage Gate first before the Colress, again, assuming this is my hand. If I don't have Mirage Gates, I might have to Colress first to try to find that Mirage Gate. But if I have the option between Mirage Gate and Colress, in a situation where I need to attack with Rayquaza right now, Mirage Gate is the better option. Why? Well, if I Colress first, or I use Greninja's ability, or I use Comfey, whatever, there's a chance that the energy types that I need show up. And now they go into my hand, or worse, the Lost Zone, and now I'm not able to search them with Mirage Gates. So I use the Mirage Gates first to get the energies. Now I know I need a Grass, I know I need a Lightning, and I know I need a Fighting. So Mirage Gate number 1 finds me the Grass, the Lightning and Fighting. Mirage Gate number 2 finds me the Grass, and the 4th energy type, which is the Psychic Energy, so that I can go ahead and get as much damage as I possibly can with the Rayquaza. Now it says I get attached of all these to my Pokemon any way I want. In this case, I'm going to attach to Rayquaza. So now I got all these energies on this Rayquaza. Now 2 things are going to happen. I need to either I can still attach this Fighting Energy from hand to the Comfey so I can retreat and attack. Great. I also might need to try to find Boss's Orders. In that case, I don't want to use Colress, and I might not want to use this energy. If I'm going to Boss's Orders, I don't care if I know I have to play Boss's Orders, the Pokemon I'm attacking is on the bench. Escape Rope is my best bet, but I want to make sure that I use Comfey first. Now, if I'm only looking for Boss's Orders is the card that wins me the game. It doesn't really matter the order between Greninja and Comfey. I would probably Comfey first so that I don't have to get rid of this energy unnecessarily. So I would Comfey, look at 2 cards. That was 3. Oh, would you look at that? It's not a Boss's Orders, so I choose 1. I mean, at this point, it doesn't really matter. I can probably take this Mirage Gate, because then I can play it to thin the deck out. And that's exactly what I did when I played those first 2 Mirage Gates if I'm looking for Boss. So now I can say, okay, I'll get a Psychic and I'll get a Lightning Energy. While I'm doing this, I'm searching to see, is Boss's Orders even in the deck? In this case, it is. Now, I wouldn't have found it, so it's going to be a good thing I'm about to shuffle. But I can go ahead and get these energies. I can attach 1 to the Comfey, and I can attach 1 to, say, a Comfey for next turn, so I guaranteed have retreat. Now I just thin the deck out of 6, or actually 8 cards between the Comfey and the the Mirage Gates. I don't have to commit this energy, which means now I can use it for Greninja, which is perfect. Now I get to draw 2 more cards. Sure, I have the Colress's Experiment, but if I use Colress, I'm not able to go ahead and actually boss like I need to. So I could quick ball away this Colress if I wanted to thin the deck even more of Pokemon, so that it's more likely I find that Boss's Orders. So I can go ahead and say, ooh, in this case, I only have 1. I have 2 targets. I'll get the Urshifu. I don't really need it. I don't need the Drapion either. Doesn't really matter. Don't have to bench it. I don't have to worry about hand thinning. So we can go ahead. That Mirage Gate was played. We still have the energy. We just really thin this deck out to try to maximize our chances of finding this Boss's Orders. So I still actually have a another flower selecting I can use. Let's just assume that I started my turn and I only used that first one. I can go ahead, now that I shuffled, retreat by discarding, sending this up. Now I can flower select, look at 2 cards, did not find the boss, but I can go ahead and quick ball again. I wouldn't have got the boss, and I'll go, okay, look, I got that second Pokemon out of the active. I still have an escape rope to give me an out to get that Rayquaza. I still have the energy to use Radiant Greninja. Still got options. So now we're going to be able to discard this energy, draw 2 cards. This would be our last chance to find that boss. There's a chance we don't. We still have a substantial number of cards in deck. If we had something like Lumineon, you just search it and you'd be fine, as long as you don't bench lock yourself. So there we go. Now I can play the escape rope. I don't need to, because again, I want to wait. I don't want to commit to this. Once I play this, I have to put that Rayquaza into the active, unless I want to, put something else up. But for now, there's no point in playing that escape rope until I know what I want to do. Because if I don't find the boss off of this Greninja, and I play the escape rope and promote the Rayquaza, that means I'm attacking with something that I don't want to, and I have to discard all those energies. Not a good idea. So maybe I, if I Radiant Greninja, and I don't find the boss, I can leave this in the active, or I can escape rope and send up the other one, or Cramorant, something. Something so that I have the free retreat option later, because this has an energy. So now I can go ahead and Greninja, Scoop Up Net, and Battle VIP Pass. No, I don't find the boss. There's really nothing I can do here at this point. Could I Scoop Up Net? That's a Battle VIP. Could I Scoop Up Net? Play it down, escape rope, send this up, and Comfey again? Sure, but I still didn't find it. And then even if I did, I wouldn't have a way to get this Comfey out of the active, since I used all my switch outs and I already hard retreated for the turn. So yeah, in that kind of case, I probably wouldn't have used the Scoop Up Net personally. So after all that, we didn't find the boss. In this situation, what I would do is I would play the escape rope so that I can go ahead and send up the Cramorant, because I want to keep these Comfey so I can try again next turn if they don't boss up the Rayquaza. But what this does is it allows me to use the Comfey and get that flower stuff thing. I can also just put a little damage onto whatever's in the active, maybe some chip damage, maybe take a prize if they give me something like, an opposing Comfey, they give me a Sableye or Drizzile or something, or just anything I can put chip damage into is never a bad thing, right? So I would still attack with the Cramorant, but if they don't knock out the Cramorant, I have the Scoop Up Net to get it out of the active so I can attack with Rayquaza if I do find the boss. And then I still have, if they do knock it out, I could send up my Comfey here so that now I have the flower selecting option. So then on my turn, if they do knock out that Cramorant, now I could draw for turn, and now I can use the flower selecting, find 2 more cards, 2 Battle VIP Pass. That's a little unfortunate. I can hard retreat into this other Comfey because I still have the Scoop Up Net, use flower selecting again. We find Mirage Gate and Energy. Okay, well, I'll play the Mirage Gate just to try to thin the deck out. I got an Energy. I can put it onto here, and that's the only other Energy. So now I shuffle up the deck. I know I'm really harping on this, but sequencing with this deck is so important that I really do want to spend a little bit of time talking about it. So okay, so now we have a lot of cards in hand. We still have the Scoop Up Net, which is the big thing to be able to get this out of the active if we do find boss's orders. Now we can go ahead and Greninja. Hey, there it is finally, and escape rope. So now we have multiple options for getting this out of the active. Honestly, the easiest would just be to Scoop Up Net. Put this, we can go ahead, promote our Rayquaza with our abundance of energies, boss up our target. Obviously here we have 4 prizes, so let's just pretend we have 2, and now we can take our last 2 prizes and win the game. So there you go, some basic combos that we can do with the Lost Zone deck. It can be very tricky to play Lost Zone, especially these Mirage Gate decks. You have to be very cautious of the energy that you discard in Lost Zone, energy requirements on your Pokemon. prize mapping. There's a lot of stuff. We could spend so much more time talking about it, but I don't want this video to be that long. But if you want to see more video like this, let me know. Like this video, tell me in the comments, and yeah, that's gonna do it for us today. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time.